Welcome to the introduction to RStudio. Today I'd like to talk about some of the features of RStudio, especially when we're working on data analysis projects. So we're just going to look at a couple of simple data analysis projects and produce a small HTML report from both of those, and just show you how you can use projects to keep your work together. So what I like to do is normally I like to have the R script or the R syntax in a file so that I can reuse it, and I like to have this on the left hand side. Of course you can have it any way you like, and I like to have the console running R. I like to have the console on the right hand side over here. So let's see how we do that. We can use the options, and we can go to the pane layout. We can just choose the console here, and so we'll see it swapped these around. If we apply that, we can see it's moved over. And then the appearance, well, let's just choose another one. I mean, we can have some other things that you might find easier on your eyes, but I'll just use the Eclipse theme, and that just gives us a few more colors. You can see that we've got highlighting here. We've got comments in light green, and we've got strings in purple, and so on. So if we apply this, press OK, then basically we're ready to go. And instead of typing into the console as you might do in R, then I find it's best to type into this window here and save your syntax so you can run it later. You can use these little buttons to run it. You don't need to type it into the console here. But first of all, let's create a project. Let's just create a new project. I'm just going to call that Calculate, and it'll be a subdirectory of this directory here. So let's create the project, and we'll see that if we look at these, there's the subdirectory Calculate, and it's got a new .rproj file, so an R project file that stores some of the information about this project. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to have a new R script. So here we've got, it's untitled, but what we could do if we just want to say add a couple of numbers together, just use R as a calculator. Then we can come over here and press the Run button. So this will run the current line or selection, or we could use Control Enter, which I find easier if I'm running quite a few lines. So you just hold the Control down and press the Enter, but for the purpose of this we'll just press the Run, and we can see over here we've got the syntax that's submitted to the console, and then the output. So let's just make that a bit bigger, so it's the same as the usual thing that we do in Windows. And maybe we want to just do another calculation. Of course, there's a whole lot of expressions. We can take logs and exponentiate. So we could do something like 7 squared plus the exponential of 4 plus the log of 9, for instance. And so you can see one thing here, when I type in a bracket, and I'll just go back and do that. If I type in the left bracket and just hit that left bracket, the right bracket appears, and so I can just put my number in there. And that certainly helps things match up. If I put the cursor there, you can see that this is the one that matches up. It's not over there, but if we wanted to, we could put one over here. You can see that matches with the next one, but now you can see it's matched over here. So it's got little clues to help you to type things in right, and so you shouldn't run into too many problems with unmatched brackets, which is always a trap. And so once again, instead of hitting the run, I might use Control Enter, and there's the expression. So if I did want to find out about what the sort of arithmetic I can do, then I can press question mark arithmetic. Now, I don't have to type all of the word. I can use command completion. So I can press the tab key here, and that'll tell me what choices I can type in. So let's choose this one. I can use the mouse there, and I'll press that, and then if I hit return, that'll give me help on all sorts of arithmetic things I can do. Obviously, addition, subtraction, multiplying, all those sorts of things, and it goes through all the details, and it also gives a few examples that I could run if I wasn't if I wanted to really find out what's happening there. So we'll just shut that again. The next thing that I'd like to do is do a histogram of 1,000 random normal numbers. So I'll just generate them and have a look at them. So I can type in hist, and of course I can't quite remember if it's hist or histogram. So if I press the tab, just like I did last time, it gives me a choice here of a few things. But of course we want the histogram, and once again down the bottom here, there's another way to get help. We can type in, press the F1 key, and that'll give us additional help. And once again we can see examples, and there's quite a lot of examples, and most of these, of course, they're there for a reason. We can run these and we can find out how things work. So that's a nice, quick way to learn some syntax in R. But for the time being, we'll just type in rnorm, which is generating a random sample of normal values from this is the standard normal with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, and I'll just generate 1,000 of those. So once again, I can come over here, press run, and you can see here that it's generated those numbers, and then it's produced a histogram of them. So we could export these, including to the clipboard or as an image, which we could load into a Word file. But instead, what I'd like to do is produce a small HTML report. So I want to save this as calculate.r. So I'll just save that. Press the save, and so we see here we've got this saved. Now if I change anything there, so I'll put a space here, and I might put a comment, some calculations. So you can see this is in green. It's easy to see what's a comment, what isn't a comment, but this has gone red and a little star, meaning that it's not saved. So I might just save that away. And now, if I want to just produce a HTML report, just the simplest thing, it says compile notebook here. So that'll give us the input, the output, and any plots that pop up. And so you can put in a title and an author, and we'll just leave it as the default. So now we can see we've got this preview of the HTML. This is the command and this is the output, and then there's the command and there's the plot. So it's quite a neat little way of getting putting all your output together, and you can just load that into Word. So Word will read the HTML, and then you can modify it to produce a report. So it's a very simple way. R has many ways of producing reports, and this is the most simple. So now that we've finished with that, what I might do is I'll just show you here the files. So we've got the calculate.html. We can use that again. Open it with Firefox or Word. I've got the calculate. I've got all these 3 files together. We could have a lot more, and we could just copy this whole directory to a USB and take it to another computer, and then open up RStudio. So now what we'll do is start up a new project. Create a project. Now it asks us if we want to save the save our workspace, which we can. Means when we open it up again, that everything will be there, and we'll start a new project from an existing directory. So I'll just have a look for that. Oh. So we've got to go through a few directories. We'll use that one. Create the project. And we'll see here that in that directory I had some syntax, and I've got some data, and I also have, by creating a project, we've now got a new project file. So this data is created from the tooth growth data, and you can read all about it. So R comes with a whole lot of data, and there's an example. So we're just going to really do this fancy plot, which I'm not really going to explain. It's just a demonstration. But if we go back to the files, if I double click on that, you can see that brings up an R script file, and basically we're just going to read in the data from the CSV file, tabulate it to see how many observations we've got, and then run the plot. So here, if I go to edit, you can see that we've got all sorts of things that we could do. We can do find and replace, and the usual things we can do in an editor. But I just want to select all. So if I well, I'll just go through there. So if I press Control Enter or Run, this will load the data in. We can see here that we've now got a small data set. It's got 60 observations and 3 variables. If I click on it, we can have a look at it in this window here. So there's our data set. It's got the tooth lengths here, the type of supplement that we used, and the dosage. So now if I come down to there, we can have a look at the table, and then we can have a look at the co-plot. So if I highlight that, then we can run that, and there's the plot. So we can see that it's got a slightly different shape, but as I say, it's just a demonstration. There's the 2 different supplements that were given, and once again, if we just want to compile the notebook, then we can put it in one file, and there it is. So I'll just shut that down. And finally, if we have a look in the files, there's the HTML file and the extra files that we had. So now, if I just want to go back to the previous project, so recent projects, so go back to Calculate. We might as well save that. Then what it does is it brings back these calculations, and when we had the window maximized, it does the same thing. So it sort of gets you back to where you left off, and so projects are a really useful way to keep yourself organized. So I hope that's been useful, and good luck with R and RStudio.